and welcome back to Tammy's Yarn House. Today's tutorial is going to be how to make this fall scarf. And normally when it comes to the size of scarves, you want to do the hand method, okay? Now, I've got some what I call man hands. My hands are not your delicate, just no. I'm not doing soap commercials anytime soon, okay? So, but you use your hand method. And scarves are individual to people. We all come in different shapes and sizes. And because of that, usually scarves are not one size fits all. So a good hand method is to put your hand at the end and just go to the end of your hand. Now I made this scarf extra long and extra wide. I've seen them and I thought, well, that was a pretty good idea. Let me go ahead and make that. Normally I only make just regular normal scarves, but this one, I love fall colors, and I made it extra big. Or you could take your hand this way and lay it down. See, I'm extra. And that's a good measurement for you, right? For you and how you want to make your scarf. I did make this one extra long. Scarves usually go from the tip of your finger to the tip of your finger. So you put it on the tip of your finger and you go up your arm and all the way across the back of your neck to the other tip of your finger. And that's usually a good measurement for a scarf. I'm sorry I can't give you direct, dimensions, this so many inches by so many inches, because like I said, we're all built differently, and that's not going to work for everybody. I do like a lot of fringe on my scarf, so I did every single stitch. I put a tassel. And normally what you'd want to do is you'd want to do every other stitch to do a tassel. But again, this scarf is extra. So this one came out to be, let's see, let's measure this. So this one came out to be 8 inches across, and I do know it is 75 inches long, and that is without the tassels. And I think the tassels are 6 inches. I made them 6 inches. Yeah, I made the tassel 6 inches. So this scarf is one of your very long, fluffy extra. If you like extra, you'll love making this scarf. This is a simple moss stitch. And I used, well, this is all I have left of the material for this. This is a Yarn Bee Arabella, and this color was Foxtrot Fella. Foxtrot Fella. So if you like this colorway and this nice, then try to find some Foxtrot Fella. This yarn will tell you, let's see if we can get in here and see, it will tell you to use a 6.5 millimeter crochet hook. It is a size 5 bulky. I used a 7. And it went really well. If you do a moss or a linen stitch in a size larger than what the yarn calls for, it lays a little bit better. Actually, I do all my scarves like that. I go up a hook size, even sometimes 2 hook sizes, because it'll drape. The last thing you want is a stiff, cramped up scarf that's supposed to be around your neck. You want it to be able to flow good and just feel good, and that's what this scarf does. It has all of those properties. Okay, so I'm going to take my 7 millimeter crochet hook and a little bit of this yarn that I have left over, and I'm going to show you what to do with a moss stitch. And I've watched a lot of videos about a moss stitch, and some of them are easy to follow, and it's a two row repeat, and you want to start out with an even number of stitches. And what happens is the rows will offset each other. If I can spread that off enough so you can see. They offset each other, and the way to do that is to start with an even number of chains and that way you will have an odd number of stitches to go into, and that will make sense because we're going to single crochet into the second chain from the hook, so you're going to lose one of those little chains, right? So that means you're going to chain up an even number, you're going to have an odd number of stitches to work into. So I'm going to do a really small swatch right here. We're not going to make this mammoth of a scarf that I made earlier. I don't know why I did that. I guess I was just, you know, had extra, I don't know, I could probably take that thing apart and, you know, make a whole nother scarf, but that's just too much work, and Tammy's not going to do that. It's already made, it's done, we're living with it and loving it. All right, so let's make an even number of chains. I think I'm just going to start off with a 20 count for right here. So get your 20 stitches, make a swatch with me, and let's go. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Okay, here's what you want to do. You want to go into the back bumps. If you turn your work just a little bit, you'll see all those back ridges, and that's what you want to work into. If you watch my videos, you know I am a huge fan of going into the back bump. All right, loop on our hook, never counts. We're going to go into the second chain from the hook, and we're going to put in a single crochet. And in some of the videos about moss or linen stitches, it seems like it could be confusing, but I'm going to tell you a little trick, so that you can always tell where you are, and when you get to the end or the beginning of a row, you're going to be able to tell what to do next just by looking at it, right? So that way you don't have to remember, oh God, what did I do? Because you set your project down and you went off to do something and you came back, and then you're looking at it and you're hoping it's going to talk to you, right? To tell you, hey, this is what you do next. So I'm going to show you a way that you can recognize what to do next, and it's consistent, and that way you always know. All right, so we put a single crochet into the second chain from our hook, and what a moss stitch is a single crochet and chain one. That's what it is. Chain one, skip a stitch, we're going to put a single crochet into that next stitch. Here we go, and we're going to chain one, skip one, put a single crochet into that next stitch, chain one, skip one, crochet into that next stitch, and I want you to do this all the way down until you get to the very end. Meet me at the very end, and we'll go from there. We'll turn the row. Here we are at the end, and you know your count is correct. If we just did a single crochet here, we need to chain one, so we're going to skip one, and then we're going to put a single crochet in that last chain. Okay, and then here comes your 2-row repeat. This is your first row. We are going to play around in these chain one spaces. So those are going to be our playground, which makes it easier, and it makes it fast. This thing goes up real fast. Chain one, turn your work. Now, you will always put a single crochet in that very first stitch. So anytime you can remember a constant to do in a pattern, it's easy, right? Easy for me, I know. So single crochet always into that first stitch. Now we have a chain one space. See this chain one space? We're gonna put a single crochet into our chain one spaces, and then we chain one. Right? That's a single crochet. This is a single crochet space, chain space. So we're gonna put single crochet, chain one, skip that single crochet, and we're going to work into the space. It's going to look a lot better when we get out of this foundation chain row, because at the bottom they probably all look like chain one spaces. So let's get out of this bottom and so you can see it a little bit better on the next row. Chain 1, go single crochet into that space, chain 1, single crochet into the chain 1 space, chain 1, single crochet into the chain 1 space, chain 1. Now what we have left here is the chain 1 space and our ending single crochet. So we put a single crochet in this chain 1 space. Now we are not going to chain 1 because we don't want to, if you do that, you're going to start to increase the size of your project and it's going to start to go wonky. So you only have 1 stitch left. So we're going to put a single crochet in here. And here's the constant, y'all. Look at this. In the beginning, did a single crochet and then an immediate single crochet after that. So we've got 2 single crochets in the beginning and we ended with 2 single crochets together. That's a constant. If you remember that, if you get halfway through your project and you have to put this down and you're going, oh gosh, I don't remember what to do at the end, especially when you have yarn that is color changing like this, right? And you're not quite sure what to do, look what you did at the beginning of the row. That's going to be your key as to what you do at the end of the row, because what you do at the beginning, you do at the end. So let's chain 1, turn our work, and get some yarn. Okay, remember, always single crochet in that first stitch, and then we have that single crochet. So we know we're not going to go into that, right? We're going to chain 1. And then we go on. And this is where you're going to be able to see your chain 1 spaces. You see those a little bit better than that beginning row? So we're going to single crochet into that chain 1 space, chain 1. This chain 1 goes over top of the single crochet from the row below. Go into that chain 1 space with a single crochet, chain 1. Single crochet, chain 1. There's our chain 1 space. We're going to go in here with a single crochet, chain 1. And we're going to do this all the way down, and I'll show you at the end how it's always going to be constant with what you do at the beginning, and this is how you can tell. It was easy for me when it dawned on me that I said, oh my gosh, because, you know, I mean, we put our projects down all the time. Got to cook dinner, you know, the kids need fed, laundry needs done, you know, everything, got to go to work, right? So now we are at the end with the 2 single crochets. So this chain 1 is going to accommodate this single crochet. We're going to chain 1 and then put a single crochet in the end. See that? Chain 1, turn your work. Always put a single crochet in that first stitch. And then look what we're immediately faced with. That chain space. So we're going to put a single crochet in that, chain 1. This chain 1 is going to lay over top of the single crochet from the row before. Single crochet, chain 1. Working into those chain 1 spaces, single crochet, chain 1. And we're going to do this all the way down. And that's what this pattern is. Now what you do on your first 2 stitches in the beginning is what you're always going to do in the 2 stitches at the end. This is why I found if you understand that and you get that, then you're never going to be lost in this pattern, no matter what yarn you use. So here we are with our last 2 stitches. Okay, we got our last 3 stitches, because this chain 1 right here is going to accommodate that single crochet. We got chain 1 space, single crochet, and we're left with 1 more stitch, single crochet into the end. Now you see what happened? Again, we started out with 2 single crochets at the very beginning, and we end with 2 single crochets. That's how you're going to make this, even with a yarn that looks as busy, right, as busy as this one. Now I did a smaller swatch here. Well, probably not going to be any better. If you remember that, start out with an even number of stitches. Always single crochet in the very first stitch, and then follow your chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, and the pattern will tell you what to do next. All right, so let's do it again. Chain 1, turn your work, always single crochet in that first stitch, and then what does our pattern tell us? I'm immediately faced with a single crochet, which means I have to do what? Chain 1. Then I start working into my chain 1 spaces. So single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, and we're going to do this all the way to the end, and you'll see that at this row, the alternating row, I started out with a single crochet and a chain 1. I'm going to end with that single crochet, chain 1 over this space. We're going to skip this and go to the end. You see that? So the first 2 stitches you do in the front are going to be the same stitches you do in the back. And that's how you make the moss or the linen stitch. And you can go, now this probably would have been a better, I just started out with 20 with a size 7, and if you put my hand over it, that pretty much probably would have been the size of a normal scarf or a regular standard. Let's say standard. I don't like the word normal. Let's say standard. So that probably would have been a standard scarf for me. And remember, tip of your finger across your arms, across the back of your neck to your other tip, and that's how you measure your scarf. So I can't tell you how many rows to do, right? Unless you want to do a scarf that is, you know, meant for, I don't know, a giant. This is one that I made. And keep going with your rows until you get to where you're going. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, support my work, consider subscribing. But you know what? Most important of all of that, y'all, I want to see your work. So show me what you did. Show me how you did your scarf. And if you decided to put fringe on it or not. You can find me at Facebook at Tammy's Yarn House. So check me out there, send me a picture, and let me know how your scarf turned out. I would love to see it. Y'all have loads of fun making your project.